January the 1st. In the Church of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, as in the whole world, there are two protagonists of the first day of the year: Mary, Mother of God, and peace. On the Sunday after Christmas, the Feast of the Holy Family was celebrated in Nazareth. At the end of Mass, a procession went to the place where Jesus, Mary, and Joseph lived. On December the 26th, the memory of the first Christian martyr leads to the Cedron Valley in Jerusalem, to the place where, according to tradition, Stephen was stoned to death. Little flames are lit one after the other for 8 days. It's the Jewish holiday of Hannuka. In Jerusalem, a Jewish community wanted to celebrate it together with some Christians and Muslims. Religious orders, institutes, congregations and communities close to the Basilica of the Nativity carry out numerous social and educational activities in Bethlehem, where the Christmas atmosphere of solidarity lasts throughout the year. The music of a young orchestra in Bethlehem, a special Christmas gift for the children of the Caritas Baby Hospital and the Effetà Institute. January the 1st. In the Church of the Latin Patriarchate of Jerusalem, as in the whole world, there are two protagonists of the very first day of the year: Mary, Mother of God, and peace.
Sono tutte e due necessarie. Credo che sia stata una bellissima.
They are both necessary. I think it was a beautiful intuition of Pope Paul VI to entrust to Mary the idea of peace. Among our deepest desires, the first one is peace. In every family, we need a mother to whom we give our desires, and in the Church, this is the Virgin Mary, Mother of God. Pope Francis tells us in his message some indications: dialogue, reconciliation, and ecological conversion. These words are a little distant from our experience of the Holy Land, but they are the indications of a path that we must take. We always talk about dialogue, said Monsignor Pizzaballa during his homily, but little is done about it. At the origin of all the problems, there is a difficulty to talk to each other, to dialogue, to stand in front of each other. Reconciliation, then, is a taboo word. Our people wonder how we can talk about reconciliation as long as this situation of injustice exists. Yet, said Monsignor Pizzaballa, we must not lose hope. The Apostolic Administrator of the Latin Patriarchate stressed how important it is to recognize the reality in which we live, which does not mean to justify it. And then he cited the ability to speak frankly. We must not give up, he said, expressing a judgment on the world. We must say yes, but also no. Above all, we must make ourselves the voice of those who have no voice, because our people also need words of truth. And this should not turn the Church into a political party. Talking about peace in this territory is a bit difficult. We have seen all the contradictions that are here, but we are here to pray for peace.
We are struck by how deeply divided the land is, and therefore the search for peace is fundamental. I hope that this land will find its peace, that men and women, recognizing that they are all children of one God, will truly find peace and live in peace.
Called Shrine of Love and Domestic Church, the family was God's chosen means of bringing Jesus into the world. According to the Gospel of Matthew, an angel appeared to Joseph in a dream and said to him, "Do not be afraid to receive Mary as your bride, for he who was conceived in her comes from the Holy Spirit." And the family of Nazareth has become an example to the world. Nowadays, it's really necessary to contemplate a holy family of Nazareth. Today we live relativism. But above all, it is necessary to contemplate the family values, human values, not only the spiritual values of this family. These are the values of a father who works, of a father who takes care of this Son of God, who is still his juridical son and who was given by God to Saint Joseph. the values of Mary, who takes care of her husband and her son, the values of a family that had the difficulty of waking up in the morning and going to work in the city of Sepphoris. They too lived as refugees, having to flee from King Herod to go to Egypt. Many families today are forced to emigrate because of the war, because of difficulties in their work. This Holy Family of Nazareth is a true example.
Davvero questa famiglia santa di Nazareth è un esempio.
The Feast of the Holy Family is celebrated as part of the octave of Christmas and encourages us to deepen our love for the family even in the midst of current difficulties, and to take Jesus, Mary and Joseph as our model. In the Basilica of the Annunciation, Franciscans, pilgrims, local Christians and couples celebrating their silver or golden wedding gathered for Mass presided over by Brother Francesco Patton, Custos of the Holy Land. The homily was given by Brother Marwan Dides, pastor of Nazareth, who highlighted the Jubilee commemoration of married life and said, "Where does the word Jubilee come from? It comes from the Bible. God gives people the law to follow, and these laws provide a way of life. Not only by the law, but through the law, God led his people to holiness. For this reason, every 49 years there was a Jubilee year consecrated to the Lord." At the end of Mass, everyone went out in procession towards the place where the Holy Family lived and received the blessing.
Esse lugar, assim, eu acho que é muito forte.
I believe that in this place we can see how the Holy Family was led by God, and it's a very strong emotion. I think that in the first place, the family is born from this yes. The Holy Family is born from the yes to God, to welcome and incarnate the will of God in one's own life.
Muito especial participar da.
It is a very special thing to take part in the celebration of the Holy Family in this place where they lived, where we too can experience the spirituality of Nazareth. A strong wind blows in the Cedron Valley, at the foot of the hill where the Temple of Jerusalem stood in Jesus' time. A simple cross on the rock recalls the place where, according to tradition, Stephen, the first Christian martyr, was stoned to death. The Jews do not try to kill Stephen inside the courtyards of the temple, which in some way would have made the holy place impure. They take him outside the enclosure of the ancient temple. Therefore, tradition places precisely among these rocks, which are in the immediate decline of the hill of the temple, the place of the martyrdom of the first martyr. A memory preserved today by the Greek Orthodox Patriarchate, who built this complex in the 60s. The liturgical memory of the first martyr does not coincide with that of the Latins, and for this reason on December the 26th, the doors open to welcome Franciscan friars and pilgrims. Vespers are prayed. The many martyrs of today are remembered. The great attention that the Church of Jerusalem has begun to pay to Stephen is linked to a rather late tradition of the Byzantine era. This tradition dates back to the time when a presbyter dreamt of a place where Stephen's relics stood. Today this place is venerated not far from Jerusalem in Beit Jimal. In that place they found bones that were then processionally brought back to Jerusalem, and for the occasion Empress Eudocia had a large church built in honor of the proto-martyr. Little flames are lit one after the other for 8 days. It's the Jewish feast of Hannuka, the feast of lights, lights to be shown on the doorstep, lights that invite young people and families to celebrate on this trade street in West Jerusalem, or faithful and tourists right under the weeping wall in front of a big golden Hannukia. Hannuka remembers the reconsecration of the Jerusalem temple in the 2nd century before Christ. According to tradition, a miracle happened on that occasion. That little pure oil available to turn on the lights of the menorah surprised everyone and lasted 8 days. But at the end of this feast, which falls during Christmas week, the real miracle in Jerusalem, a possible miracle, is another. The one that led this Jewish community to celebrate the lighting of the last candle of Hannuka together with Christians and Muslims. It is not the first time, but once again, prayers, songs, thoughts, and good wishes have brought together faithful of different religions, men and women who wanted to live together an evening of friendship. Here in Bethlehem, the climate of Christmas and solidarity lasts all year round. Very close to the Basilica of the Nativity is the house Hogar Niño Dios, created in 2005 by the Sisters of the Institute of the Incarnate Word, who take care of 36 special children.
Durante el periodo de estadía de las hermanas cuando llegaron a Tierra Santa.
The sisters, upon their arrival in the Holy Land and in the course of the voluntary apostolate, felt the needs of many children who had been rejected, abandoned just because they were disabled. They felt the need to begin a work of mercy. Our congregation was born in Argentina in 1984, founded by Father Carlos Miguel Buela. The male branch was born first, the priests of the Incarnate Word, and 4 years later, the female branch, the servants of the Lord and the Virgin of Matara. The charism of the congregation is the inculturation of the gospel, something for which we are present in the 5 continents as missionaries.
The joy of those who receive attention, affection and dedication is palpable. But for those who give themselves, satisfaction is even greater. Filippo is part of the project of the National Civil Service abroad. He works as a volunteer and collaborates with the Latin Patriarchate. As far as I'm concerned, I'm earning time here. It's more a service they do to me than the other way round. The child Jesus was born 200 meters from here. But for me, Christ was born here and not in the Basilica of the Nativity. This is a wonderful place. Not far away are the Sisters of the Order of the Most Holy Saviour of St. Bridget. The saint was born in Sweden in 1303, was wife and mother of 8 children, including St. Catherine of Sweden, and left her children a great devotion and love for the Holy Land.
We can summarize our mission and vocation in general in 3 words: adoration, service, and reparation. Humble and simple service to all those who come to visit our house in search of rest for body and soul. We offer this simple and joyful welcome to all who come to visit us.
Il riposo del corpo e dell'anima, offriamo questa semplice e gioiosa accoglienza a tutti quelli che vengono a visitare.
The Franciscans, also present in Bethlehem, play an important religious, social and educational role.
Now in the Holy Land we have about 18 schools, more than 10,000 students and over 1,000 teachers. The importance of the school is for the people, for the local people, to help them to have better job, better education, and to open them to the whole world. And we hope that through our education to our kids and caring for them, we give them better life and better jobs in the society and to improve life here in Palestine.
Per me è una grande gioia trovarmi in questo luogo di pace.
It is a great joy for me to be in this place of peace. I have been coming here to Palestine for more than 30 years, and I share the idea of being among these children, hoping that the peace of this place can spread all over the world.
Augurandomi che la pace di questo luogo possa estendersi in tutto il mondo.
There are others, institutes, congregations and communities close to the Basilica that carry out various social works, so that solidarity is not an event limited only to the Christmas time. A moment of deep dialogue through the strings of a violin between a young musician and a child born 8 days ago who needs to stay in an incubator. It is a small and unique concert that takes place in the neonatology department of the Caritas Baby Hospital in Bethlehem, which leaves everyone amazed, listening in silence.
الموسيقى رائعة وكانت يعني للأطفال أكثر إشي أصلا مهم للأطفال.
Music is beautiful, and it's very important for children because its delicacy helps them on their healing journey.
راح تكون إن شاء الله شفاء عليه ويهدى ويشفى إن شاء الله.
Quel momento lì col bambino è stata una cosa molto.
That moment with the baby was very intimate, and it was only due to the baby. I'm very happy to have done it because I have several friends who had to face this moment in Italy, and I know what it means. It's a very difficult thing to deal with, which is why I'm happy to have been able to help them here.
Sono contento di aver potuto aiutare qua.
Era interessante vedere come anche la respirazione di questi bambini.
It was interesting to see how these children's breathing became more normal. The children who were restless, who were nervous at first, relaxed and fell asleep. They awakened the mother's womb in their heart, in their mind. This return to the womb of the mother means to be protected, cared for, loved.
La madre che vuol dire ritornare ad essere davvero ancora una volta protetti, custoditi, amati, benvoluti.
The hospital's aisles resonate with Christmas music, a different morning for its little patients but also for the musicians of this young orchestra who came from different countries and who have found a special stage in Bethlehem. The Caritas Baby Hospital, with its 74 beds, neonatology wards and pediatric neonatal intensive care unit, is in fact the only pediatric hospital in the West Bank. Without distinction of people or religion, it takes in all the children from those who are born prematurely to young 14-year-old kids.
Quando siamo venuti qui la prima volta, nel 2011, l'arcivescovo di Ravenna.
When we first came here in 2011, the Archbishop of Ravenna presented this initiative and said, "You have a big responsibility to go and make music in Bethlehem for Christmas, and this is the role that the angels had in the story of the Nativity. Because the angels, as it is written in the Gospel, sang peace on earth. We play, so we really feel this role. And we also know, we saw it, we knew it, that our songs, our Christmas music, bring people together in every culture."
Le nostre canzoni, le nostre musiche di Natale mettono insieme le persone.
Then the magic of music moves to Effetà, the structure that in Bethlehem takes care of deaf-mute children. The meeting with the musicians immediately turns into a great game, with the children busy listening to musical instruments in a very special way. They have their own way of hearing. They don't have the ability to hear the waves in their ears, but the waves have the power to transmit themselves everywhere. And they can almost hear it from their hands. In the end, I experienced what we do with all the children in the world, innocence and spontaneity among human beings. The problem is that we don't have this contact as often as we should. That's the real problem.